Hey y'all, so I hear this talking point all the time, so much that, as a black woman, like, it's infuriating. It's infuriating to get online and, constantly see that, we as black women are masculine. You know what I mean? And it's like nobody ever thinks deeper. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all don't ever think below the freaking surface. Y'all don't ever think that. And this is my whole talking point on the black women are masculine, right? Literally, some of us were not raised to be feminine. Right? I grew up in a narcissistic household. Both of my parents was narcissistic. My mom and my dad were narcissistic. I was not raised to be feminine. I was raised to be masculine. I grew up seeing my mom, the provider, the protector, the leader. I grew up seeing her do everything. And meanwhile, my dad, a baby dad, and he was narcissistic, doing nothing. I seen my mom take on so much labor, so much, right? Like I said, me, a little girl growing up in this environment where, every time I was vulnerable, every time I was soft, that got weaponized. Every single time. And a lot of black women grew up in the same environment where we were not allowed to be soft. We were not allowed to be feminine. I start opening up about how I feel. Oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, I got mocked. Vulnerabilities being weaponized and used against us. We decided to be soft. Oh, this, that, and the third. And after a while of living in that environment, you go into survival mode because you are not. That's not a safe environment for you. A lot of black women grew up defensive. We hear the stereotype: black women are loud and they're. Why? Because a lot of us grew up in environments where we were fighting to be heard. If I'm still undergoing trauma and reprogramming myself, but if y'all see me 3 years ago, I was way more defensive than what I am now. I still got some defensiveness that I'm working on, but this is the environment that a lot of us grew up in. This is a generational curse. This is generational programming passed down to us. I was taught to be controlling. I was rewarded for being the strong one. That's why y'all say black women, everybody always leans on us to be the strong one. We were taught we had to be strong. We had to be strong because nobody was there for us emotionally. We were constantly abandoned emotionally as a child. So we were taught to be strong. I remember, y'all, growing up with my father, right? Whenever I would cry or get mad, my dad would tell me, fix your face. So I wasn't even allowed to express emotions. Fix your face. What you crying for? So they teach us to be emotionally unavailable like them or narcissistic like them. Confidence in that household is not rewarded. You're not rewarded for being actually confident. You're not rewarded for that at all. They start telling you, you think you all that. See, look, a child is naturally born confident. We're naturally born confident. We're not insecure. But when you grow up in dysfunctional households, right? These people get threatened by your confidence. They get threatened by that as a child because children have this light to them. Children have confidence, like I said. They get threatened by that and they start to drain you. They start to make you insecure and defensive. And you were not like that. You didn't have bad intentions growing as a child. You were not like that unless you were taught to have bad intentions. But most children don't have that. So they pull you into their chaos and now you're walking around defensive, mad, and miserable. And that's another thing, right? Like I said, living in a household, black women, we were taught to be masculine, and then the black men were taught to be feminine. That's why you see a bunch of, the nonchalant dreadheads walking around, because that's what they were taught to. They were taught to be that. Bums, black men in their 40s, bums still living with their freaking mama and being coddled. That's what, the roles are reversed in the black community. It's reversed. Black women are taught to be hyper masculine, and the black men are taught to be feminine and be able to sit back and receive. And I know a lot of black people, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is the common dynamic in relationships. The hyper masculine black woman with the nonchalant dreadhead. That he not doing nothing and she taking on all this emotional labor, emotional and physical labor that the man should be carrying. This is the stuff that was taught to us in this community. And it's like, I can't do the work by myself. I can't be the one that changed the world by myself. But it's like, I would say, you got to acknowledge these things as a black woman. If you're growing up, you got to acknowledge these things and actively do the work to reprogram yourself. But a lot of our parents literally set us up for failure. If it was not for God pulling me out that freaking household, I would still be defensive, masculine, and insecure to this freaking day. This is the trauma that was taught to us. We were not taught to be feminine. We were not taught that at all. That feminine, girl, I was not, like I said, y'all, I was taught to be controlling, a provider, a child. I was taught to be a provider as a child. I was taught to be strong because that's what I got rewarded for. That's what a lot of us got rewarded for. Everybody I knew, a lot of people I know in my family, this is what they got rewarded for. Being strong. Fighting to be heard. That's why, you see, you're asking a black woman one question and she blows up. That's years of trauma, babe. It's years of trauma. And of course, like I said, you're an adult. So now you got to take responsibility for your behaviors. But a lot of black women are unaware of this. A lot of them are unaware. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They don't know why they're so defensive. And it came from childhood. Dysfunctional household. Both of my parents are emotionally unavailable. Both of my parents use my femininity against me. Both of my parents did. And I had to sit with myself because another thing, growing up, constantly comparing myself to other women because I never felt feminine enough. I never felt like that. I would look at a woman and I would look at her through the eyes of a man. I don't see myself in her. I just see that's a woman and I'm a man. Like, I was viewing the world through a man's lens because I was always in this masculine energy. And y'all know narcissistic women that are emotionally unavailable, the women that do it all, they have a very wounded feminine. And my femininity was wounded. Like, I wasn't able to be a woman. I wasn't able to receive. I was not taught to receive. I was taught that me receiving is selfish. That's what I was taught as a child. Everything that you can associate with femininity, I was taught that, oh, you think you're too much, and you're too sensitive, and oh, you're fast. Anything that has to do with being a woman, I was shamed for. These parents actively teach you, they shame you in being a woman. So this is the dysfunction that's in the black community, y'all. Like, it's not that black women are too masculine and we're strong. I don't want to be freaking strong. I'm not always strong. I had to be strong. This is the thing. I had to be strong. Because ain't nobody was coming to save me. Nobody as a child. I had to guard myself up. My mama wasn't coming to save me. My daddy wasn't coming to save nobody. My brother, nobody. My brother was in his feminine energy because he was not taught to be a man. And then, like I said, with black mothers, they do this thing where they raise their daughters and they coddle their freaking sons. Like I said, that's why you see 40-year-old men still staying at their mama house, leeching off of freaking women, being bums, being in their feminine energy because that's what they were taught. They were not taught to be men. And then, like I said, the men usually are not in the household because the dad was emotionally unavailable too. Now he on to the next woman that he can destroy and leech off of emotionally. This is the pattern in the community. This happened this is years and years of programming. Generational programming. Started way in the 1900s, 1800s. And you got to actively do the work. Like I said, if you are a black woman that was raised in this environment, you got to actively do the work. Because like I said, me receiving as a woman, that I feel so ashamed for receiving. Because I was not taught to do that. I wasn't taught to receive. I was taught to give, be masculine. Be controlling. Like I said, a lot of black women are controlling too. Where did that come from? Your parents being controlling you, and now you're like, I don't want to ever make nobody, because they make you feel powerless. These parents make you feel powerless. So you learn at a young age, you need to be controlling so that you never feel powerless again. Where somebody has this authority over you and they abuse you. This is a lot of stuff that we were taught. So it's like I said, it's not that we were masculine, this is what we were taught. And everybody, and I see it so actively in so on social media, black women are constantly being the strong one. Like, I see with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, whatever her name is, she's perpetuating this cycle of the strong black woman. And I be getting mad because I'm like, girl, you are literally playing into the stereotype. Being the savior, coming to swoop in and save everybody. This is what black women have been doing since the beginning of time. Like I said, this is all strategic programming. We were taught to be the strong one. It's not even empathy that we have. It's just we were taught to sacrifice ourselves for everybody and never receive nothing. Don't ask for anything. Allow people to use you. This is what we were taught. So yeah, y'all, that's all I had to say on this topic. If you guys got any, just please let me know your thoughts and your opinions on the topic that I'm saying. But I just get, like I said, I get tired of people saying that black women are masculine. Like, y'all, think deeper. Think deeper on why a lot of us had to be masculine. We had to. And just because you consider us masculine, that does not make us masculine. That's something that can be fixed. Because we're not naturally, that's not God's design for us. We're not naturally masculine. We picked up on those traits because we were in survival mode. So yeah, y'all. That's all I had to say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Love y'all. Mwah.